Now, the WA town which helped put man on the moon. In the 1960s, NASA chose Carnarvon as the site of a tracking station to communicate with its spacecraft. Now, 50 years later, the almost forgotten history has been revived. And as Graham Butler reports, Australian astronaut Andy Thomas made a flying visit to be part of the special event.
I'm going to step off the limb.
Everyone stopped and watched it. People didn't go to work. The university didn't hold classes.
Greatest secret ever told.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Apollo was a defining moment of the 20th century, and that's part of the importance of this place.
It wasn't just a giant leap for mankind, it was a giant leap for a WA town. Carnarvon played a critical role in getting man onto the moon.
And I was proud of that, and I think a lot of people were, and so it's good to have the legacy preserved here so that people can recognise what happened.
Australia's first astronaut, Andy Thomas, has travelled from Houston, Texas to help celebrate Carnarvon's role in the space race. In the late 1960s, NASA built a tracking station here to communicate with the Mercury, Gemini and Apollo space missions. Another dish was built by OTC, initially as a link to Houston.
This must have been an exciting place to be in the late 60s. It must have been a strange and very unique environment, I think. It'd be good to be in a time machine and go back and just participate for a while.
It might not be a time machine as such, but the opening of the Space and Technology Museum at the old OTC site transports visitors back to a time when Australia joined the race to space.
This story needs to be told, and that was my driving force from the beginning.
Phil Yude and his team of volunteers have spent 7 years collecting pieces and transforming the abandoned site into a museum.
People have forgotten what this was all about. This one was the one that sent the signals to the astronauts to say, OK, it's time to go to the moon now, and off it went. And they were the last ones to be in contact with them before they came through the atmosphere and landed back in the Pacific.
The museum has just been officially opened, and taking in the displays were some living treasures. People like John Preece, who worked at the tracking station in its heyday.
The inscription is CROW, which was the acronym for the Carnarvon tracking station in the network, keeping the memory alive, then signed and dated by Andy.
We used to set up tracks and track satellites and get all the tapes ready and take them up to Wendy, and she used to send them through to the state.
Glorious entertainment, which is what science really is.
Professor Brian O'Brien worked on the space program in the US. His experiments are still on the moon today.
I invented various experiments for them to put on the moon. One was a radiation experiment, another one was a dust experiment.
While the site is most famous for its role in the manned space missions, it also has links to another piece of history. This strange dish behind me was used for the very first satellite television broadcast from Australia. It was October 1966, and it linked a studio audience in London live with British families waiting on the streets of Carnarvon.
I'm talking to you from the main street of this town, and I've been joined by some of the townspeople who've got up bright and early this morning for this special occasion of this first live telecast from Australia to London via satellite.
Viewers in London also heard about Carnarvon from a young Wilson Tucky.
Peter, people make Carnarvon, and we're quite a varied lot, both by business and nationality.
I remember we used to hear about the work being done here at Carnarvon. It was really amazing that Australia played a role in the deep space network.
Now a new generation is learning about the role this WA town played and hearing firsthand what it's like to look down from a seat in the stars.
We reached orbit, the engine shut off, unstrapped. We opened the payload bay doors and I floated up to the window, and it was breathtaking. I mean, it was one of those gasping moments. It takes your breath away. And it's very striking to see Western Australia from space, because most of the state is this bright red colour. It's unmistakable. You look out the window and you see red desert, you know you're over Australia, or particularly Western Australia.
The Carnarvon Space and Technology Museum's open every day. Details are on our website.